Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week, we're going to talk about some spring gas lawnmower maintenance tips, and we'd like to thank Tiz for liking and sharing the podcast. We'd also like to thank Mike Luoma from the Glow in the Dark radio podcast for mentioning our podcast on his podcast. And book 16 is almost ready to go to the editor.
If somebody would finish editing.
I have 2 more chapters to read through, and then we'll get it to the editor, and we'll let you know when you can download a free copy on Amazon. In 1908, Stephen Briggs and Harold Stratton formed a partnership that eventually became the Briggs and Stratton Company. They developed the first lightweight aluminum engine in 1953, and they used it for lawnmowers. Toro started making engines for the Bull Tractor Company in 1914 and came out with their own gas lawnmowers in 1924. In 1963, John Deere developed one of the first residential lawn tractors. If you've purchased a new gas lawnmower, make sure to read the owner's manual for the setup and any break-in procedures for the engine.
Before you use it?
Yes, absolutely. And before you use it, make sure you check the oil level in a new mower before you start it. If you run it without oil, you'll destroy the engine.
Most come with a bottle of oil, right?
Yes.
A lot of gas lawnmower companies use Briggs and Stratton engines, right?
Yeah, Toro, Troy-Bilt, DeWalt, Craftsman, Yard Machines, Husqvarna, and John Deere, plus a lot of other companies, use Briggs and Stratton engines.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a brand new lawnmower with a Briggs and Stratton engine, they don't recommend operating the engine at full load during the first 5 to 10 hours of operation.
Full load? What does that mean?
So they don't want you to run it at the highest speed in high grass during that first 5 to 10 hours. They say running the engine continuously at high speed initially can lead to permanent damage to the cylinder bore. They recommend running the engine at varying speeds to break it in during the first 5 to 10 hours. And after 5 to 10 hours, they recommend that you change the oil. Because during that initial break-in period, small pieces of metal and other residue is picked up by the oil and should be removed by changing the oil. They also say to save money, use standard oil for that break-in period, and then you can switch to a synthetic oil. But check your manual for the recommended oil for your mower.
Cool.
After that initial break-in period, Briggs & Stratton recommends that after every 25 hours of use or annually, you should clean off the pre-filter if your mower has one, and then change the air filter. After every 50 hours of use or annually, you should be changing the engine oil, inspecting the muffler and the spark arrestor.
How many times of mowing is that? 25 or 50 hours? Should you keep a journal?
Yes, you should have a lawnmower journal for all your repairs and your annual maintenance. So in Illinois, we mow for about 8 months.
Ew.
So yeah, tell my son. So 32 weeks, if it takes you an hour to mow, you're looking at 32 hours a year.
Okay, but you should do this annually, even if it's not 50 hours?
Right. So Briggs & Stratton is recommending annually you should be replacing your air filter, your spark plug, your fuel filter if it's one that needs to be replaced, and your oil. Although Briggs & Stratton has an EXI engine that has an automotive-style air cleaner, it has a special oil fill tube and an overhead valve to minimize heat. They say cooler oil takes much longer to break down, and because of this design, the oil stays so clean that it eliminates the need for an oil change.
Oh.
You just check your oil and add oil as needed. You never have to drain it, dispose of the old oil, and refill it. So that's pretty wild.
Cool.
So check your manual.
Yeah.
In a Troy-Bilt push mower manual I read, they recommend checking all fasteners every year and make sure they're all tight. Lubricate the pivot point on the blade control at least once a season with light oil.
What's blade control?
So the blade controls the lever or the rod that you pull against the hand grip to start and run your mower. And then when you release that bar, it turns off the engine and stops the blade.
What do you mean by light oil?
Like a 3-in-1 oil or a liquid wrench light machine oil. You're looking for something that's marked light machine oil.
Cool.
Clean the underside of the deck after each use. Maintain the oil level before each use. Service the air cleaner every 25 hours of use. Spark plug replacement is recommended at the start of each season. Keep the top of the engine clean for proper air circulation and remove any debris from the muffler area. Treat your gas with a fuel stabilizer to prevent deterioration of the gas and help prevent a buildup of gum from forming in the fuel system. And follow the engine operator's manual for oil change recommendations, which is for every manufacturer I've seen, change your oil once a year.
Right.
Troy-Bilt, Honda, Briggs & Stratton, and other companies have tune-up kits for lawnmower maintenance, which is usually a spark plug, an air filter, and a bottle of oil. Some kits will also include a fuel stabilizer, but if you're looking at tune-up kits, make sure you're matching the kit to your mower. Adding a fuel stabilizer to your gas can every time you fill it up is going to help protect your engine against gum and varnish buildup. It's also going to help keep your gas fresh for easier starting and smoother running. And if there's always a stabilizer in your gas can, the gas in your mower and the can will be ready for the off-season.
Yeah, it's easy.
Some top-rated fuel stabilizer comes from Stable, STA-BIL, Royal Purple, ROYAL, capital PURPLE, Starbright, STAR, capital BRITE, and Lucas Oil, LUCAS, capital OIL. Briggs & Stratton says fuel for your lawnmower should be a minimum of 87 octane and use gasoline up to 10% ethanol. E15 is not recommended for small engines.
Interesting.
Out of the manuals I read, if you have a gas mower, the key things to do every spring to keep your mower in top shape is change the oil, replace the spark plug, replace the air filter and clean or replace the pre-filter, replace the fuel filter if your mower has one or if it's replaceable. Some mowers have non-replaceable filters, so check your manual, and add a fuel stabilizer to your gas can every time you fill it up. If you have a self-propelled mower, you're going to have more lubrication, you're going to have belts, so make sure you read the manual for your model.
Right.
To change the oil, check your manual for your model, but in general, for a walk-behind mower, you're going to remove the dipstick cover and tilt the mower with the dipstick tube side down. You're going to drain the oil into an oil drain pan or something similar. Some models recommend using a drain plug, so check your manual, but draining through the dipstick tube is recommended by Briggs & Stratton and other manufacturers because it's a lot easier than taking out...
It's messy, right?
Yeah. Sometimes those drain plugs are a drag. They're hard to remove, and like you say, it can be messy. Before you drain the oil, let the gas run down and run the mower for 10 to 15 minutes before you drain it. You want to warm up the oil so it flows easier, and that also helps get any metal shavings and particles into the oil when you tip it over. Disconnect the spark plug wire before you tip the mower over, and that's going to help prevent it from accidentally starting if you move the mower blade. You can also remove the gas cap and put a piece of plastic, like a sandwich bag, over the opening, and then tighten the cap down over the plastic, and that's going to help prevent it from leaking.
Ah, cool.
After the oil stops draining, tilt the mower back on its wheels and put it on a level surface. Add the recommended oil for your model, and then check it with the dipstick, make sure it's full. Replace the dipstick cap, the spark plug wire, and remove the plastic if you used it from underneath the gas cap.
Right.
Recycle the old oil. The EPA says 1 quart of oil poured down a storm drain can contaminate 1 million gallons of water.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. You can go to earth911.com, and that's EARTH, the numbers 911.com. Put in your zip code to find a local recycler for oil, Or check stores like Advanced Auto, AutoZone, and other auto parts retailers in your area. Many will take oil and recycle it.
Cool.
Some top-rated drain pans come from Garage Boss. It's Garage, capital BOSS. Hopkins, HOPKINS, and Nico, NEIKO.
What do you pour it into?
So you can use the container from the new oil. Once you pour it in, you've got that empty container, or a clean plastic container with a lid, and then you would take that to a recycler.
Thank you.
When you're shopping for oil at a hardware store or a home center, SAE 30 is the most common type of oil for small engines, but make sure you're checking your manual for your model.
What is SAE?
SAE is the Society of Automotive Engineers.
Cool.
And SAE 30 is good for temperatures between 40 degrees and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. SAE 10W30 is good for temperatures from 0 degrees to 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
What does W stand for?
W stands for winter. So if you have two numbers like this, it's a multi-viscosity oil.
Oh, exciting.
The oil is going to have the viscosity of a 10-weight oil in cold weather, so it's easy to start. And then when the engine warms up, it's like a 30-weight oil. It's pretty wild.
That is exciting.
A few manuals recommended a synthetic SAE 5W30. This is considered an all-temperature oil. It makes the engine easier to start and less oil is consumed. This is good for temperatures from -20 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But check your manual that you can use a synthetic oil, and check your manual for what oil they recommend for your model.
Right. How much oil does a mower take?
For a walk-behind mower, it usually holds 15 or 18 ounces of oil, but check your manual. For a riding mower, it's usually 48 or 64 ounces.
Wow.
To replace the spark plug, you can use a spark plug socket, which has a rubber insert in it to protect the top of the spark plug, or you can use a spark plug wrench. And you can pick those up at a home center or a hardware store. They have two sizes generally and a bar so that you can tighten and loosen the spark plug. And these are very inexpensive. But check your manual or online for the hex size of the base of the spark plug for your mower before you go out and buy a tool. 13/16 and 5/8 hex are common, but it can vary depending on your mower. Remove the spark plug wire and clean off the area around the spark plug with a brush or a cloth to help prevent any debris from getting into the opening when you remove the old spark plug. Use your socket or spark plug wrench to turn the spark plug counterclockwise to remove it. Check your manual for the replacement plug, or take the old plug to a hardware store, a home center, or an auto retailer to get the correct replacement.
Right.
You can thread the new spark plug into the mower, turning it clockwise, and then snug it up with your socket or wrench. Pretty easy project.
Yeah.
To replace the air filter, some models have a set screw or a nut that needs to be loosened or removed, but many of the new models have a cover with a plastic tab that can be lifted or pressed to release the cover, so you don't need a tool. You're going to remove the cover. Once the cover's out, you're just going to remove the filter and put in a matching filter. Some models will have a pre-filter that can either be cleaned or replaced.
Cool.
Check your manual to see if your model has a fuel filter, and if it has a fuel filter, is it replaceable, and where is it located? Some will be on the outside of the motor, some will be in the fuel tank. If your mower has a replaceable fuel filter, you're going to want to run the gas down in the tank, especially if it's in the tank. You're going to allow the engine to cool off before you replace this. Remove the spark plug wire. Put a plastic pan under the mower to catch any spills. For many mowers, you're going to remove the air filter cover and the air filter to get to the fuel filter, but check your manual. Most are going to have clamps that can be squeezed with pliers. To loosen the clamps, you're going to move them out of the way. It's going to allow you to pull off the old filter. You can insert the new filter into the tubing and clamp it in place. Make sure you check the direction of the filter. Many have an arrow to show the flow direction. Once it's installed, move your clamps to clamp it in place. Wipe up any gas with a cloth. Reinstall the air filter and cover if you had to remove it. For some mowers, you might have to remove the carburetor cover and the air filter housing or other parts. So again, check your manual.
Yeah.
You should sharpen your lawnmower blade at least once a year for cool season grass and twice a year for warm season grass. To sharpen your lawnmower blade, you want to run down the gas, remove the spark plug wire, and tilt the mower on its side. For most mowers, you're going to have the oil dipstick tube side down, but check your manual.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to remove the blade. You can use a file, a sharpening stone, a grinder, or a handheld sharpener. And once you sharpen the blade, use a balancing tool to make sure you remove the same amount of metal from both sides. An unbalanced lawnmower blade can cause enough vibration to damage your mower.
Really?
Yeah. Some top-rated handheld sharpeners for lawnmower blades come from AccuSharp. It's ACCUSHARP. Smiths, SMITHS, and Sharpal, SHARPAL. And when you have your blade off, you should use a plastic scraper to clean the underside of the mower deck.
Right.
And then once you clean off the underside of the mower deck, you should spray it with some type of deck spray or a silicone spray. And that's going to help reduce the buildup of grass underneath the deck. If you have a mulcher, you don't want that buildup because it changes the airflow and it's not going to mulch as well.
Right.
So you want to keep that clean. A couple top-rated deck sprays come from Tight Seal. It's TITESEAL, and Modec, MODECK. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that children should be 12 years old or older to safely operate a walk-behind mower, and 16 years old or older to operate a riding mower safely. According to Nationwide Children's Hospital, more than 8,000 children younger than 18 are treated in emergency rooms every year from lawnmower injuries.
Wow.
About half were burns to the hands from touching a hot engine.
Right.
And common injuries are deep cuts, loss of fingers, hands, toes, or feet,
Wow.
broken bones, and eye injuries from objects thrown by a mower.
Yeah.
Many amputations are from children walking backwards with a mower and falling, or a child sitting on the lap of an adult on a riding lawnmower and falling off and a body part getting underneath the mower.
Wow.
So they really emphasize keep young children away from mowers.
Yeah.
Always fill a gas lawnmower when it's cool, so take a break if you've been mowing and you need to add more gas. Pouring gas into a hot mower can ignite the vapors and cause a gas can without a flame arrestor to explode. In a Consumer Reports national poll, 79% of homeowners say they rarely or never wear hearing protection when mowing their lawn. The Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary says most gas lawnmowers can be anywhere from 90 to 106 decibels. The CDC says there are hair cells in the inner ear that can be damaged or destroyed by prolonged exposure to loud noise over 85 decibels. Over the years, damaged cells can cause hearing loss, so they're recommending wearing hearing protection whenever you're using a gas lawnmower. Wear noise-reducing earmuffs or earbuds. 3M has top-rated earmuffs and earplugs, and I saw some interesting earbuds from Klein Tools. They have noise-reducing earbuds with memory foam, so you can protect your hearing and you can listen to music or a podcast while you're mowing your lawn.
Do you think anybody has ever said that before?
What?
I saw interesting earbuds.
You heard it here first. And those earbuds are Bluetooth.
Outrageous. Do you have anything else to add?
I think that's a good overview of the basic maintenance to keep a gas mower running well, but check your manual for your specific model, especially if you have a self-propelled lawnmower. And if you don't feel like doing it yourself, check your local hardware store if they have a small engines repair person, and some rental stores will have small engine mechanics.
Right. Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our ebooks, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, books 1 through 15 on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter at FixItCohost, and you can follow us on Instagram, Fixit Home Improvement.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.
Thank you.